Hello everyone. Today I want to show you some of the video I recorded while I was doing my chrome delete. If you don't know what a chrome delete is, it's basically covering all the chrome pieces trims with vinyl. In my case, I used 3M 1080 Satin Black Vinyl. I bought 2 rows of these Satin Black Vinyl in 25 feet by 2 inches for $25 each on Amazon, and another row of 5 feet by 1 foot for the mirror since it's wider. That's $14, all from Amazon. I'll include the links for all the stuff that I bought in the description. I'm by no means a professional vinyl installer, but if you have seen my other video on my YouTube channel, I am a big time do-it-yourself kind of guy. I learned to do all the things that I did and have somewhat success in the result of the things I do. So if you want to try this yourself, hopefully watching this video will help you. But if you're afraid to do it, you might just have to pay a shop to do it for you. I think they go for somewhere around $700 to $1,200 depending on where you go. So this project only cost me about $80 in all the material and a couple of hours of my time. So I started off with the window trims, and before I start wrapping anything, there's a little trick to reset the front windows to allow it to lower all the way past the door frame. This allows the rubber seal to have nothing in the way, so you can pull back the rubber seal in order to tuck the vinyl inside the gap between the seal and the chrome trim to allow a seamless finish. To reset the window, you would basically press and hold down the window down button until it reaches the lowest point, and then release the button and press and hold again, and this time hold it for roughly about 10 seconds, and then you'll notice the window drop another inch or so into the door frame. So the next thing you want to do is use rubbing alcohol to clean all the surface to be wrapped. I added a strip of masking tape along the trim in case I cut into the seal. Now measure the length of the part that you will be wrapping. Allow an inch or 2 on each end, because the last thing you want is to finish the piece and realize that you ran short. Once all the prep work is done, go ahead and peel the backing of the vinyl. For the window trim, since the bottom is very straight and have little to no room for you to tuck the vinyl, I aligned the straight end of the film along the straight edge of the chrome trim so I don't have to cut or tuck anything. After that, I pulled lightly to allow the film to wrap around the trim without any wrinkles. And all I have to do is cut the top of the film with my knife leaning against the window trim as a guideline, all while the knife is pointing up away from the paint and the seal. Trim away all extra with a few millimeter left for tugging. To tuck, you simply pull the seal away from the window trim. This allowed a bigger gap between the two pieces. Then use a squeegee to push and wrap it into the gap created. For both ends, first you want to cut away the extra hangover pieces left about half an inch. Then find the tip of the bent area and slice it into 2 pieces. This allows you to wrap the sharp turns without overstretching the film, although creating an overlap between the 2 pieces, but is hardly noticeable, and you will not have to worry about the film pulling back from overstretching. Also important to always wrap the bottom piece before overlapping the top piece. This allowed the seam to appear on the bottom side since the top piece is on the top of the bottom piece. And just like that, one of the 6 chrome window trim is wrapped. Repeat the same for the other 5 pieces with the same or similar technique. For the side marker, it would be easier if I pop it off first, but I got lazy and did it with the side marker on the car. I did pop it off when I did the clear bra, and it wasn't very hard to pop it off. Again, clean the surface, and for this piece, I'm using 3M product called Knifeless tape. This tape does exactly what is named, which allows you to cut without a knife. You simply apply the tape along the curve where you plan to cut, lay the film over it, and after the film is installed and wrapped around the part, you want to find the end of the knifeless tape and pull and break loose the end, and you'll find that a string is now appear. Pull the string quickly. This will allow the string to slide open the edge of the film, and then you simply follow through and let the string do its job and slide through the film. And again, apply the simple technique used for the window trim. You now have completed the side marker. Onto the door handle. This is the smallest piece and pretty easy, as you can see. The only challenging part is how to wrap around the rounded tip end of the handle. But you can simply apply the same technique for the window trim once again. Slice the film into 2 or even 3 sections at the tip. Fold it in with some pressure applied and work from the bottom up. For some of the window trim, the rubber seal is really tight against the trim. I fold up some of the backing paper from the vinyl, insert it between the tight gap. This helps expand the gap and allow me to tuck the film across the window trim. You can slice the backing paper across as you work your way across the window trim. Last piece, and it is the most challenging piece, the mirror handle. For the driver's side, which was the first mirror that I attempt to wrap, I removed the entire mirror off the car, but before I start removing, I went into the car and disabled the auto folding mirror to avoid the mirror from folding while I'm working on it. You can simply pry it and pull on the mirror cover to get it off. It's held onto by a couple clips. Work slowly, don't force it. Next, you need to remove the speaker from the inside. To remove the speaker, pull up with some light force and it should slide right out. Then disconnect the cable connection. With the speaker off, you can now see one of the 3 10mm bolts. To get to the rest of the 2 bolts, you would need to remove the door panel. The door panel is held onto mainly by 3 torque sturdy bolts. One is right underneath the bottom of the door handle. Another one is behind the reflector by the door jamb. Gently pry it off the reflector. The last one is right behind this cover, right under the top of the door handle. Gently pry it off the cover. Once you get all the bolts off, the door panel is still held onto by some clips. Use a bit of force and pull the door panel away from the door to get it off. Once it's off, there are some cable attached to the door panel. I left it attached because I only need it off slightly in order to get to the remaining 2 bolts. I hung the door panel on the top of the door and slightly off to the left since the bolts are on the right of the door. You won't damage or scratch your door or the panel, as there is a slot where the door panel was meant to be hooked onto. One of the bolts is behind this rubber cover. This rubber cover is held onto by this button. It's kind of like the button on your shirt. Carefully slide it off. Then a small clip which takes no effort to remove. Now you have access to the second 10mm bolt. The last bolt is right by the cable to the power mirror. After all bolts are removed, disconnect the 3 cable to the mirror, as you would need to slide them out through the slot above in order to get the mirror completely off the door. With the mirror off, clean it again with alcohol. I use 75% alcohol to clean. Once it's clean, you can start wrapping. I've learned that with the mirror off, it's easier to access to every edge and corner, but it's also much harder to wrap, especially by yourself, since there's nothing to hold on to the mirror as I pull the vinyl. With the same reason, I wasn't able to continue filming while I was working. But here's the finished product. For the passenger mirror, I managed to wrap the mirror with the mirror on the car. I find it not any harder, and it may even be easier. I simply divide the mirror into 3 to 4 sections, again starting from the bottom, as I want the overlay piece to be from the top. Then a third piece is added for the back. A fourth or even a fifth piece may be needed, but as long as you find a good section to divide up the piece, you won't be able to tell that there is a seam. For the top side of the mirror handle, I use a thick piece of paper to create a template with a cutout. Without this cutout, where the mirror cover is, all these space will be in the way, and it's gonna make it very difficult for you to wrap all the way around in one piece. Knifeless tape was once again being used for all the overlay areas. Heat gun is also on the standby when you see wrinkles or when you pull the film back and cause unwanted stretch. Using a heat gun carefully can also help soften up the film so you can quickly pull and wrap around tight curves and edges. And finally, my chrome lid is completed. This project took me around 4 to 5 hours for my first time, and about $80 spent on Amazon, including all the vinyl material and the knifeless tape. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video helps or at least entertained you. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more video like this in the future. Leave me a comment below, let me know what you think. Maybe you have better technique you can share. And lastly, if you find this video helpful, please share this video with your friends or other fellow Model 3 owners. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.